Hey everyone, Mars from Consequence here. I'm going to go over Tindral, the second to last boss. So, this is a notes page again. I didn't make this. Coping Way in the guild made it, so shoutouts to him. And he does a lot of our raid plans as well. But, in short, this fight has three platforms and extremely fast pace. There's some core mechanics the boss will do. There's going to be a dispel, um, which is going to you need to dispel 3 times, and we'll show that in the video. There's going to be a mass entanglement, which you want to loose spread under the boss, and you want to clear them before the tank mechanic comes. Note on normal and heroic, you can get out of these for free. Mythic's different, but we're not going to talk about that. Um, and then the tank mechanic. So you got 4 mushrooms in sequence around, and the tanks need to alternate which one they're taking. So that's like the core mechanics of the boss. In the first phase, and I'll show that in a second, he has a Moomkin form. So he just constantly spams AoE on the raid, and he'll bait these fire beams. So we, it's it's theorized that one will target a player at random. Um, but we didn't really do like any bait strat or anything, and I'm not really sure. It's probably going to be some type of mythic bait, but for this you can kind of just drop and leave. But yeah, the beams are really dangerous, and you need to find the safe spot before the roots come out, and that's kind of the wombo combo in the first phase. So, gonna go over this VOD here. This is a Demon Hunter VOD. This is our heroic kill, and we did get to the last phase, and we did hit enrage, so we'll be looking at the whole fight. So, in the first phase here, you have the Falling Stars mechanic, which we didn't talk about. That's another core ability, but then it's very easy to deal with. But then you have these mass roots. So you can see the melee are trying to stack under the boss here, and anyone can get out is just doing whatever they want. Um, it's better in theory just to be around the boss anyway, just in case you can't get out by accident. But you could see there was people out there and they just got out immediately. You don't want to like hard stack because you'll instantly die, so loose spread's good enough. And as long as you can get out before this tank mechanic, you're good to go, because if the tank mechanic goes under you and you're rooted, you're gonna die. And this is a fire beam, so this is like a good example of why it might be theorized it's on players, because it looks like it targeted the biggest clump of players here, but it could just be someone random. And these beams are gonna come out and they're extremely lethal. Oh, he gets hit and he gets chunked for half with a giant shield. So you're gonna get mass entangled again. And same thing, you want to group in a little and then just AoE. And then that's it. He's going to repeat that over and over so you can see the fire. The one thing you can't see in this PUE is the dispels. We just take him to the edges and dispel them. There's going to be 3. So now here he's going to push. So you're just going to grab a feather. In this testing, you had this extra action button, but that doesn't exist anymore. So you can just mount on your dragon riding mount, and you'll be good to go. Before you have to like click an action button and then mount. So in this intermission, you want to fly through green orbs. They give you 10% damage for the whole raid, damage and healing, and they'll like replenish your vigor and stuff. If you hit the orange orbs, you could just straight up die. I think he does a pretty good job. So you can see he's collecting the green orbs, and he's just absolutely booking it. Like, look how many people are behind him. Like, most of the raid is behind him. So he's getting all these orbs. Someone took that one. But when you take an orb, it puts like a little like wind boost for everyone else. So you're gonna land here, and you gotta break this shield before it's done casting. One thing to note is there are green things like around the platform, or sometimes even behind the platform, especially when you're going the second time. So we had like a tanks, and maybe like 2 healers like try to look for those that might be a little more hidden. And then you break the shield here. So now we're in P2. Also, one thing to note is we lost on pull. I don't think in the current iteration of the boss it's percent based, but if it phases off percent based, you're almost certainly going to want to lust in the last phase. If it's just straight up boss health, you're good, like straight up like abilities, so he needs to cast X amount of abilities to phase. You want to lust on pull because that's when you'll have the most damage. Unless the end of the fight is crazy, you need haste for healers or whatnot. So we lust on pull here. But we're gonna go over P2. So instead of doing the Boomkin form, he does his tree form. So it basically just gives you a heal absorb, and then he's going to drop a bunch of seeds on the ground that need to be taken by players. The more you take, the more damage from the seeds you take. Any seeds that you don't take will spawn trees that just pulse AoE the rest of the fight. If you note here, seeds can dispel on burning ground, so you want to move the boss away and tank the boss on a wall so the seeds kind of group up. You also still have those core abilities, so this is a better angle. You can see like the people can get out for free are just back there. But again, better practice is always to be closer. So he's doing his core boss abilities now. Here's the tank mechanic. There's a dispel. So he's in the middle of the room, which isn't great, but there's one of the dispels. And the healing absorbs are out as well, you can see here. So some people have them. They're just being healed so quickly I didn't even notice. And then here he's going to just do a lot of seeds and start pulsing crazy amounts of damage. So you can see everyone's soaking. Everyone's soaking. And the more you take, the more stacks you get, which the more damage you do. So you definitely need like a healing CD there to cover. We do it pretty well. Like everyone gets a few. But then he's just going to cycle mechanics again. So here's a core mechanic, which is the roots. Falling stars. And then seeds again. So he has 9 right now, which is a lot. But he's tanky, so he's good. And he's just going to pulse damage. If you don't pick up the seeds, it spawns into his tree. I haven't seen it yet. It will for sure happen in the last phase. So he turns into a bird again, and you're going to pick up the feather and then get on your mount. Again, like you don't have that extra action button, you just get on your mount. And this pattern's a little harder. So the balls are moving here, and you just want to collect as many green things as possible. So again, look how far he is ahead. That's actually so funny. So he's doing a really, really good job. This is like perfect PoE. But you go around. So he's going to the back of the platform because he's so ahead, and he's collecting all these ones that, I was saying, like maybe the tanks and healers look out for. But you can see we have 11 stacks here, so we did a pretty good job. We probably missed a few, but it's well more than enough to break this shield, which we will with plenty of time. So in the last phase, there's going to be the Boomkin and the tree just like cycling mechanics. He just keeps transforming, as well as the boss mechanics. So it's like the whole fight gets meshed together in one area. So you'll still have these roots. You still have the falling stars. You still have the tank mechanic. And there's one thing to note. So what we did is we had assigned immunities for combos like this. So you can see how he's doing. This is the P1 fire doom circles mechanic. We think it might bait on a player, but it's happening during mushrooms. Well, mushrooms are right after, but the timing for some of those is going to be extremely tight. So that one wasn't too tight, but you can just have immunities take the tank mechanic to make it absolutely safe. So we had hunters like rotating or paladins rotating and dealing with them. Let's see if we get a tree here. So this is the seed mechanic again with the pulsing damage, and we actually got them all, which is really good. And again, we're cycling roots, fire, this. Okay, so see how this fire is really, really close, and it's just easier for the tanks to pull the boss away than try to deal with them and risk their life. So you can see the hunter in here, he's turtled, and he's just taking these. And now it's like way easier just to like get safe and establish yourself. But these mechanics are going to cycle over and over and over and over and over. He enrages at 8 minutes, I think. Okay, good. I found one. This is what happens when you don't get the seed. So it spawns into this and just pulses damage. So we only got one. I mean, these are all going to turn into them now, but he enraged, and he's just killing everyone slowly. Yep, they all spawn in the trees. And that's it. That's Tindral. So just like general tips, use your immunities wisely in the last phase. Collect green orbs in the intermissions. Try to book it to the platform if you can, because you don't want to get lingering behind, because if you go break a shield. Pull the boss away from the fire swirls. And there's probably a few other small things I'm missing. Try to do dispels on the side so it doesn't eat up all the boss room, and then work your way around the perimeter. Other than that, though, that's the encounter. It's pretty basic, but it's just learning the mechanics in the first phases. It all comes together for the last phase. Other than that, I'm out. That's it. Peace.